The day Madison ripped herself from my life, her gaze burned into mine. Those eyes, once so full of a fragile promise, now alight with a cold, knowing certainty. "You'll always love me, Jake," she'd purred, a cruel whisper that echoed in the empty spaces she left behind. "No matter what happens, I know you'll be waiting for me." That chilling smirk, a serpent's coil on her lips, cemented her conviction. She spoke as if it were an immutable truth, as if I were a mere puppet, dangling from her delicate fingers, a love-struck fool doomed to wallow in despair, forever a prisoner of her memory. She envisioned me a broken man clinging to the ghost of her, yearning for her grand return. But Madison, oh, how profoundly wrong she was. For when, after years, she finally graced my life with her presence once more, brimming with the arrogant assumption she could simply reclaim what she'd discarded, she walked headlong into a spectacle that shattered her delusion, my engagement party, and the woman by my side, radiant and resolute, her own younger sister, Lauren. Let me rewind, strip back the layers of this unforgiving saga, and unveil the raw truth of how we arrived at that devastating intersection. Madison and I had shared 5 years of intertwined destinies, 5 years steeped in what I believe was an unshakable love, unwavering support, and a future carved in stone. I was poised to kneel, a diamond ring gleaming in my palm, a meticulously crafted romantic tableau waiting to unfold. But before a single word could escape my lips, she delivered a blow that left me gasping for air, a betrayal so stark it echoed in the void she left. I feel like I'm missing out, Jake. I love you, but I need to see what else is out there. See what else is out there. That brittle phrase, a casual dismissal, sealed our fate. I was a stepping stone, a temporary diversion until she charted her true course. Devastation became my constant companion. She vanished, her absence a gaping wound. Within weeks, her vibrant, unburdened life flaunted itself across my social media feeds. Lavish dinners, sun-drenched beaches, a parade of suitors whose wealth dwarfed mine. It was a stark, brutal revelation. She pursued a dazzling, glamorous fantasy, and I was merely the dependable, stable anchor she had shed. Initially, I was shattered, a fractured echo of my former self. But from the ashes of my broken heart, a furious inferno ignited. Madison, in her boundless arrogance, presumed I would simply exist, a miserable sentinel waiting for her epiphany, ready to welcome her back into my arms the moment her fleeting desires faded. I made a solemn vow. I would not wait. I would not be the scorned relic, her convenient fallback. I would forge a new path, become a man she could never again possess. Every shard of pain, every bitter tear I funneled into my work. Heartbreak became fuel. I scaled the corporate ladder, made shrewd investments, and within a handful of years, I wasn't merely successful, I was unassailable. Wealth beyond measure, a life most only dared to dream of. And more crucially, I believed I had purged Madison from my very soul, or so I thought. Because then, from the abyss of her silence, she reappeared, poised for the shock of her life. For years, Madison was a ghost. No calls, no messages, just an echoing void. And honestly, it suited me. I had painstakingly rebuilt myself brick by painful brick. I was no longer the naive boy she'd left behind, the one who'd foolishly believed she was the one. While she gallivanted through her fleeting fantasies, leaping from one fleeting liaison to the next, I had transformed. I was not just prosperous, I wielded power. And I possessed something infinitely more precious than money or influence. I had Lauren. Let me be unequivocally clear. My connection with Madison's younger sister was never a calculated act of vengeance. It was not a twisted game. It simply happened. Lauren had always been a quiet, unassuming presence, a shadow in Madison's brilliant spotlight, the thoughtful one content to remain in the wings while her older sister captivated every gaze. She was kind, grounded, and utterly distinct from Madison in every conceivable way. Our paths crossed again by pure chance. 2 years after Madison's abrupt departure, Lauren was nearing the completion of her degree, working part-time in an art gallery, while I was immersed in the relentless expansion of my empire. We met for coffee, shared stories, and a silent, undeniable connection sparked between us. She wasn't consumed by opulence or status. She listened, truly listened when I spoke. She championed my aspirations, offered unwavering support, and slowly, imperceptibly, I found myself falling. We guarded our burgeoning relationship fiercely at first. We craved no drama, and truthfully, neither of us believed Madison would even care. She had made it abundantly clear I was a chapter closed, a phase to be discarded. So why would my new path matter? But then from the depths of her self-imposed exile, Madison returned. It unfolded on a seemingly ordinary Friday evening. Lauren and I had just settled into a high-end restaurant, one of those exclusive havens requiring weeks of foresight for a reservation. I held her chair, she graced me with a radiant smile, and as I took my seat opposite her, the voice, a phantom from my past, sliced through the elegant murmur. "Jake?" My gaze snapped upward. There she was, Madison. For a suspended moment, she simply stared, as if her mind wrestled with an impossible illusion. She was still beautiful, yes, but a subtle change had settled upon her. A weariness, perhaps. The luminous glow, the effortless confidence that once defined her had vanished. Then her eyes, sharp and predatory, shifted to Lauren, her younger sister, seated across from me. A serene smile gracing her lips, her hand intertwined with mine. Madison's face crumpled. What is this?" Her voice raw and unsteady, barely a whisper. Lauren, ever the epitome of composure, offered a polite, almost pitying smile. "It's called a dinner date, Madison. Something couples do." Madison's jaw clenched. "You're joking." I leaned back, a silent observer, savoring the unfolding drama. "No joke." She blinked, utterly disoriented. This wasn't the triumphant return she'd envisioned. She had waltzed in, expecting to reclaim her place, believing I would still be her faithful guardian. But she was too late, and she was about to confront the devastating magnitude of her miscalculation. For a prolonged moment, Madison stood frozen, her eyes wide, refusing to reconcile the scene before her with the reality she had meticulously constructed. Shock, confusion, and then a slow, creeping tide of anger washed over her features. Lauren, serene as a summer breeze, sipped her wine and met her sister's furious gaze. "Madison, are you just going to stand there all night, or are you going to say something?" Madison's eyes narrowed, a viper's strike. "This isn't funny, Lauren." Lauren tilted her head, a hint of amusement playing on her lips. "Who's laughing?" I fought the urge to smirk. Lauren's unwavering composure, her quiet strength, had always captivated me. She wasn't cruel, not confrontational, but she possessed an innate refusal to tolerate nonsense. And Madison in that moment was utterly outmatched. Her gaze snapped back to me, her voice a desperate, breathless plea. "Jake, what is this? What the hell is going on?" I leaned back, my hands clasped on the table. It's exactly what it looks like, Madison. Lauren and I are together. Her hands clenched into white-knuckled fists. Since when? I glanced at Lauren, who offered a casual shrug. A few years now. Now, I echoed, my tone deliberately nonchalant, as if this wasn't the most exquisitely satisfying moment of my entire life. Madison's mouth opened, then snapped shut, her gaze darting between us, struggling to articulate the words that refused to form. She had never anticipated this, not in her wildest, most self-absorbed dreams, and that truly was the essence of its triumph. I could almost hear the frantic gears grinding in her mind. She had presumed I would forever be tethered to her memory, a forgotten echo, foolishly clinging to the hope of her return. She believed she could simply reappear, snap her fingers, and find me exactly where she'd left me. Instead, she found me happy, truly moved on, and with her own sister. She inhaled sharply, a calculated effort to regain her composure. All right, she forced a hollow laugh. I get it. You're trying to get back at me. That's what this is, right? Some twisted little revenge plan. Lauren rolled her eyes with an exasperated sigh. Oh my God, Madison. Not everything is about you. Madison ignored her, taking a deliberate step closer to me. Jake, come on, this isn't real. You're just trying to make me jealous. I offered a slow, deliberate smile. Is it working? She flinched, and in that fractional moment, I knew she was jealous. But instead of acknowledging it, she shook her head, a desperate denial. You can't be serious. You're dating my sister. God, that's so messed up. Lauren let out a soft, knowing laugh. You know what's really messed up, Madison? The fact that you walked out on Jake, acted like he was beneath you, and now that you see he's successful and happy, you suddenly have a problem with it. Madison spun to face her, a fiery indignation in her eyes. I don't have a problem. Oh, please. Lauren cut her off, her voice laced with an icy precision. You do. It's all over your face. You thought he'd just wait for you forever, didn't you? Madison's face burned a furious red. That's not... You did, Lauren continued, her voice sharpening, each word a finely honed blade. You thought you could run off, chase your fantasy, and when you got bored, Jake would still be sitting around miserable, waiting for you to come back. But he didn't. And now you can't stand it. Madison's jaw tightened. She turned back to me, her voice softening, a fragile plea. Jake, we had years together. What we had was real. You can't just throw that away. I tilted my head, a cold indifference in my gaze. Did you think about that when you walked out on me? Her lips parted slightly, but no words emerged. I let the agonizing silence stretch before delivering the final crushing blow. You were so sure I'd always love you, so sure I'd always be waiting. But here's the thing, Madison. I did love you. I was waiting for a while. And then I realized something. She swallowed hard, her eyes wide with a dawning fear. What? I leaned forward, my voice calm yet firm as granite. That you weren't worth waiting for. The words struck her like a physical blow. Her eyes widened, her breath hitched, and for the first time since she'd materialized at our table, she looked utterly, genuinely lost. I stood, adjusting my jacket. Come on, Lauren. Let's go somewhere where we don't have to deal with the past trying to ruin our night. Lauren smiled, taking my hand as she rose from her seat. Madison simply stood there, speechless as we walked past her, and I didn't look back. But I knew I knew this wasn't over yet. Madison had just realized she lost, and something deep within me whispered she wasn't the type to accept defeat easily. She thought she could return and simply pick up where she'd left off. She had no idea how spectacularly wrong she was. A few days drifted by, and Madison largely faded from my thoughts. As far as I was concerned, that turbulent chapter was sealed, forever closed. She had made her choice, and now she was reaping the bitter harvest of her own sowing. But then she materialized at my office. I was immersed in a critical meeting when my assistant, a flicker of unease in her eyes, knocked tentatively. "Sir, there's a woman here to see you. She says it's urgent." Even before she uttered the name, I knew, Madison. I sighed, running a hand over my face. "Tell her I'm busy." "She said she won't leave until she talks to you," my assistant added, her voice hesitant. I could have summoned security, had her escorted out. I should have. But a dangerous flicker of curiosity ignited within me. I wanted to witness the unraveling, to hear what she had to say now that her grand illusion had shattered, now that she understood she couldn't simply waltz back into my life as if nothing had transpired. "Send her in," I commanded. A minute later, Madison entered. She had changed. The audacious confidence, the arrogant swagger she typically wore like a second skin had vanished. She looked nervous, perhaps even a little desperate. "Jake," she breathed, gently closing the door behind her. "Please, just give me 5 minutes." I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed, my voice a cold, unyielding blade. "You've got 3. She flinched at the frigid tone but quickly regained a semblance of composure. I wanted to talk. Just us. No drama, no fighting." I raised an eyebrow, a skeptical arch. "No fighting, Madison? You chose to leave. You made it abundantly clear that I wasn't enough for you, and now, after all these years, you suddenly want to talk? Why?" She exhaled slowly, her grip tightening on the chair in front of my desk. "Because I made a mistake, Jake. A huge one." I remained silent, simply watching her, an inscrutable mask. She nervously licked her lips before continuing. I thought I wanted something more. I thought if I left, I'd find some exciting, glamorous life. But I was wrong. The guys I dated, they didn't care about me. They only cared about what I looked like, about what I could do for them. And Ryan, God, I don't even want to talk about him. He turned out to be a complete mess. I allowed a slow, cutting smirk to spread across my face. "Really? You don't say." She shot me a pained look. "Jake, I should have never left you. I was selfish. I was stupid. And I ruined everything." I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the desk. "You did ruin everything, Madison. And now what? You expect me to forget it all? To take you back like nothing happened?" Her eyes filled with a dawning panic. "No, I just thought maybe we could start over." I let out a low, derisive laugh. "Start over, Madison. I'm engaged to your sister." She winced, as if physically struck. "I know," she whispered. "But Jake, do you really love her?" That question made me pause, not because I doubted my profound love for Lauren, I didn't, but because Madison possessed the sheer audacity to ask it. I tilted my head, my voice laced with disbelief. "You think you have the right to question that?" She shook her head rapidly. "No, that's not what I meant. I know our history. We had years together. I know you, Jake. I know how much you loved me. I just I can't believe that's all gone. I exhaled slowly, rising and walking around the desk until I stood directly before her. You're right about one thing, Madison. I did love you. With everything I had, I would have done anything for you. But you took that love and threw it away like it meant nothing. Her lower lip trembled, and for the first time I saw it. The raw, undeniable regret. Jake, she whispered, a desperate plea. Please. I shook my head. It's over, Madison. It's been over for a long time. You're just now realizing it. She swallowed hard, blinking rapidly. So that's it? I don't even get a second chance? I let out a slow, deliberate breath, then delivered the final devastating blow. You didn't just lose me, Madison. You lost the life we could have had, and now you have to live with that. Silence descended, heavy and absolute. Then she did something I hadn't anticipated. She reached out, her fingers gently encircling my wrist. Jake, if you ever feel like you made a mistake, if you ever think maybe, just maybe, you're not happy with her, I'll be here. I pulled my hand away, my expression unreadable. You'll be waiting for me? I asked, my voice low, almost a whisper. She nodded, her eyes wide with a desperate, pleading hope. I offered a slow, almost pitying smile. Well, Madison, I said, stepping back, I'm not you. I don't wait for people who walk away. And with that, I turned my back on her. She left a minute later, and I didn't watch her go. I didn't need to, because for the first time in her life, Madison was the one waiting. A week passed, and I dared to believe the saga had concluded. Madison had tried. She had waltzed back into my life, expecting instant capitulation, believing a few words and a sprinkle of tears would erase her transgressions, that I would abandon Lauren and race back to her waiting arms. She was, as always, spectacularly wrong. I had moved on. I had won. But Madison, it seemed, was not one to accept defeat gracefully. It began subtly, cryptic texts at odd hours. Jake, can we just talk? And ignored calls. Then came the orchestrated whispers through mutual friends, a carefully crafted narrative of regret, of longing for the past. I disregarded every overture, but then she crossed a line, an act so audacious it demanded a response. She went to Lauren. I was away on a business trip when Lauren's call came through, her voice taut with suppressed emotion. Jake, we need to talk. Madison showed up at my place. I froze. She what? She came to see me, Lauren repeated, her voice calm yet laced with a simmering anger. She said she wanted to clear the air. I clenched my jaw. And, Lauren continued, her voice dripping with irritation, she told me you're still in love with her. A heavy silence descended. She what? I finally managed, my voice a dangerous whisper. Yeah, Lauren said, a small humorless laugh escaping her lips. She said that no matter what you say, she knows you still have feelings for her. That deep down, you're only with me because you couldn't have her. My grip on the phone tightened, a white-knuckled vice. Lauren, you know that's not true. She let out a soft, amused scoff. Oh, trust me, I know. Do you think I actually believed her? Please, I just thought you should know how desperate she's getting. I exhaled, rubbing a hand over my face. Did she say anything else? Yeah, Lauren said, a glint of steel in her tone. She actually had the audacity to tell me that if I really loved you, I should step aside. That if I cared about your happiness, I should let you go so you could figure out what you really want. I felt my blood pressure spike, a furious surge. She said that? Yep, Lauren replied, her voice firm. So I laughed in her face and told her to get lost. A small smile, despite my simmering rage, touched my lips. God, I love you. Lauren's voice softened, a warm balm to my anger. I know, and that's why none of this bothers me, Jake. Because I trust you. Madison doesn't scare me. She's just sad and bitter, trying to convince herself that you still belong to her. But you don't. You're mine now, and I'm not letting her rewrite the story just because she doesn't like how it ended. I closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Damn right I am, Lauren teased, a playful note in her voice. So what do you want to do about Madison? I considered it for a moment, then a slow, triumphant smile crept onto my face. Nothing, I said. Lauren paused. Nothing. Yeah, I confirmed. Let her sit with it. Let her live with the fact that she lost. That no matter what she says, no matter what she tries, I'm never going back. She left me once and now she's the one who has to watch me walk away. Lauren hummed thoughtfully. You know what? I like that. Good, I said. Now forget about Madison. When I get back from this trip, we're going to focus on us, our wedding, our future, everything that actually matters. Lauren's smile radiated through the phone. I love you, Jake. I love you too, I affirmed, and I meant every single resounding word, because that was the true ending of this harrowing tale. Not Madison, not the ghosts of the past, but us. And she, the architect of her own downfall, would simply have to live with that. Ladies and gentlemen, since you've listened to the end of this story, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments which state you're watching from. Let's see what percentage of elite viewers make it to the end. And please kindly turn your attention to the screen after this message. There you'll find a full playlist of thrilling stories, a subscribe button for the channel, and our most captivating story. Click, enjoy, and thank you.